welcome back to another Okrit D&D Player's Guide to Ravean kind of world building video. This time we're going to talk about the Powder Wastes region of the Mistkeep Mining Guild. The Powder Wastes are a region that is extremely barren. It is a tundra type region with very few to no other features other than ice and snow that is persistent year-round. The region is dominated by extremely high winds and freezing glaciers that break up the landscape in just a few places. It's extremely dangerous, and there is nothing out there. So, I'll show you on the map. It's actually, parts of it are within this mountain range and extend all the way out to behind where I have the Ravean label. There's a number of things that this is kind of where it starts to connect to the Remont Empire. It is an extremely barren place, and there is not much there. The closer you get to the sea, there are glaciers and a few other things. But walking across this region would be akin to walking through the desert, right? There's very little that even occurs within this region in terms of kind of a productivity standpoint from plant life or anything else like that. It is defined by torrential frozen winds that blow the region's freezing snow across the landscape. And the creatures of this region have actually adapted to this wind by remaining close to the ground, if not beneath it, much like the rest of the Mistkeep Mining Guild's areas. The many glaciers that span the northern reaches hold populations of above-ground creatures. Basically, the glaciers that do exist within these northern territories do have some ability to be kind of picked out and cleaned. A white dragon might see a glacier as a wonderful place to set up a lair. A culture or community of frost giants might lean away from the mountains and lean into carving great cities and homes for villages and stuff like that within the glaciers of this region as well, taking on any of the otherwise below ground threats like the Remoras we've already mentioned from the Thaw Timber region that are also fairly prevalent within this tundra. There are just very few other things that tend to live in this area, so it is extremely dangerous to tread into the territory. Geographically, the region tends to be extremely rocky and flat. When you get beneath the snow and ice, it's pretty much just rock and gravel. If you were to melt all of the snow and ice, it would be this massive gravel field after these glaciers seem to have extended and then receded over time. The many glaciers that span this region have kind of ground up anything there. So in the few spots where there are variations in the actual topography, it's not going to be necessarily anything too easy to tell, but there may be a large slight grade downward. Picture if you were to take like a lake and drain all of the water. It would be something kind of like that. It would be something where there's a dip because that's where the glacier was, but it goes on for miles and miles and then eventually comes to a stop, depending on where these glaciers may have been, receded and melted or anything else along those lines in the past. At the same time, even these kind of low spots, these grades, have been filled with snow and ice to the point where they are fairly well packed and you could likely tread across the surface without knowing they were even there. At the same time, some of them are not, which makes the travel even that much more dangerous. You can end up kind of falling into one of these places and getting buried alive in snow, which makes for an extremely challenging landscape to actually traverse, which means that this region is fairly unpopulated. This is a treacherous landscape. It's uninhabited by the people of the Mistkeep Mining Guild. This region serves as a sort of no man's land between the Mistkeep and the Remont Empire, just because there's no advantage to being there. The Mistkeep has partnered with the Remont Empire in an effort to explore whatever ruins might be there. In recent years, there has been a discovery that the previously thought ruins that they had assumed were really only a part of the Serac Wastes as the oldest part of the world, the oldest civilization of the world. Uh, they've discovered that there are some more ruins present within this Powder Waste region between the Remont Empire and the Snow Watch. And the Mistkeep. This means that they need to get in and discover these kinds of things. A little bit further research is necessary, kind of that level of stuff. But they don't know much of anything about it yet. So they need to hear more and learn more. So, otherwise, extremely dangerous region. But I appreciate you all sticking around and watching through the video. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. But remember, as always, be good to one another. Bye.